Hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC, good morning. We're out here at the Avon Park Field as part of my beginning series that FMS asked me to do. The theme of this one is improving your skills with RC planes. And part of that I haven't covered, the other ones that I started realizing I need to cover, that is learning how to trim your aircraft. You've already been flying your Ranger and your PA-18, and now you're ready for something a little bit bigger. So you got yourself the 1700 millimeter FMS Ranger, the much larger one, and you're ready. You got her all put together, and you're going to try to fly her in the beginner mode and learn it. Well, one thing you're going to have to do is learn how to trim your aircraft, and that's one skill that you've got to learn. So if you look at your aircraft and all the control surfaces appear to be perfectly level, then that's called bench trim, okay? And providing there is any part of the manual may have said so much elevator, so much at neutral when you're putting together, but other than that, it should look bench trim. Everything should be nice and linear with each other. So now I have purposely gone in here, and because this airplane was already trimmed, I've purposely put in a little bit of air, aileron, and elevator so she's not trimmed, just so I can demonstrate how to make her trim. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to want to do. Well, first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn on your transmitter, put your battery in, and then when you're safe and ready to fly,
motor hot and will cut you.
You're going to give yourself a control surface test. Right aileron, left aileron, up elevator, down elevator, right rudder, left rudder. Okay, for this, if you're ready to trim it yourself and you were able to fly the Ranger in manual mode and no gyro and everything, well then I suggest using the optimized mode. Okay, which is just wind mitigation, and go ahead and get your airplane up and then start your pattern, and then when you get in a straightaway, start seeing how trim she is. So let's start that. We're going to take off, and this is also, we're going to be using flaps for the first time. Right, left, up, down, right, left. Okay. Like I say, I know this airplane is not trim, because I purposely have untrimmed her for this demonstration. Now I'm in the optimized mode, which is nothing more than wind mitigation.
Timer reset.
And we're at high rates, 7-minute timer. So we're going to get her up and we're going to get her trimmed. I'm going to explain what I'm doing as I do it. All right, taking off, and she's wanting to dip to the right. So that tells me that aileron, see how she's wanting to turn off to the right? That tells me that aileron, that right aileron, something's not right with that right aileron. So I actually need a little left aileron. Okay, a little bit more. I'm a little far away, and she's wanting to rise on me. Too much elevator. Well, still too much. About half throttle right now. All right. Little, and it's nice and calm.
Time remaining 6 minutes.
So this is a perfect time to trim the plane. All right, now what I'm doing, flying along at half throttle, and she's good. She's staying in the direction. That's why. So what you want to do is you keep moving your aileron, using your trim tabs, just a few clicks at a time, until you're happy when she flies at half throttle that she stays nice, straight, and true. All right, let's try this. Let me, still want my elevator. Okay, half throttle. All right, see now, she's hands off and she's flying nice and level at half throttle. So that's what I'm doing. You just keep getting her nice and slow on nice calm conditions. Fly her about half throttle, And then just be able to take your hands, momentarily take your hands off the controls.
5 minutes.
And if she still goes straight and she doesn't veer off to one way or the other, not canceling for wind pushing her, but on her own, then you know she's trim. All right, so we know she's trim. So now let's seeing how this new plane that we just got, let's see how she lands. We know she's trim. We know she's flying good. All right. Let's go try landing this thing. And we're not going to use flaps because we don't know anything about flaps yet. We got them set up the way Fat Guy said to set them up. So now we're going to try land them. We're going to look at these flaps first. We know how to land the Ranger, so this one shouldn't be much different. Hold on. And he already told you if you don't like it, go around. Well, I didn't like that, so I'm going to go around. Go a little further out here.
4 minutes.
Okay. Get lined up on my runway. Decrease my throttle down to next to nothing. A little bit of flare. I know I've got brakes. I've got reverse thrust. Okay. Now, let's come back here and let's look at these flaps. And actually just physically look at them. Now, That Guy on his setup video, and after his maiden, he told us how to set these flaps up on this Ranger. So we're going to use his settings and see how they work. So get the plane turned around. And I'm going to pull the first notch of flaps down,
flaps.
which are my takeoff flaps. Okay?
Landing
And that's
flaps.
what my landing flaps look like.
Takeoff flaps.
Okay.
Flaps up. Landing flaps.
Okay, there's landing flaps. Takeoff flaps.
Flaps up.
Flaps up. All right, so let's see what Fat Guy knew he was talking about now. We copied his settings on his flap mix. Let's see how this works. All right, so now we're going to line up on the middle of the runway.
Takeoff flaps.
We're going to use takeoff flaps, and we're going to take off the same way. Just we've already learned that we know how when a plane wants to take off, how it feels. We want positive forward momentum. Got them takeoff flaps. Start giving some elevator or some throttle. Oh, and she lifts off on her own.
Flaps up.
Okay, so I don't need the flaps now. Put them back. Cool. She took off all by herself. Really didn't have to use the elevator at all. Well, Fat Guy knew what he was talking about. All right, now let's try these landing flap thingies.
Landing flaps.
Oh, I was really wanting to rise, but he said you want to hold a little bit of elevator. Okay. Oh, that's really cool because it maintains, just slows it down, and I'm slowing down, stopping in a lot shorter distance.
Flaps up.
So let's look at this again. Let's try this again. We're going to try it from here, and we'll use takeoff flaps because there's no wind, so it doesn't really matter. A little bit of elevator. Look at that.
Flaps up.
Boy, that just works perfectly. I think Fat Guy knew what he was talking about with them flap
Time
settings.
remaining 3 minutes.
Okay.
Landing flaps.
Now, landing flaps again. Cut my throttle down, just about an 8 throttle now. Line up the runway. Just enough throttle to keep me going forward. And then a slight bit of flare right at the end. Well, not the best.
Takeoff
Let's
flaps.
try that again. Maybe a little more throttle this time. I like these flap ideas.
Flaps up.
All right. I'll give a little more throttle this time.
Landing flaps.
I got to develop that feel, like he says, how it feels. Practice makes perfect. Oh, that's a lot better. Okay, so just kind of do a wheelie kind of thing.
Flaps up.
So that's what you're doing, folks. That's all you're doing. You learn your airplane by just flying that pattern. Just keep flying that pattern, developing that feel on how she feels. So I knew how that plane the first time I had too much bounce. So that told me that I need a little more power. Don't cut the throttle quite so much. A little more power. Hold that landing off a little bit and let this do more of a wheelie type thing. Let those mains touch first. Okay, that's using flaps. All right, we think we're good with flaps now. So let's try, and we haven't put it in beginner mode or stabilized mode at all. We're still in just plain old wind optimization. This optimized mode just helps me with the wind. All right, so let's see if we can try doing a little bit of a mild aerobatic. We're gonna use takeoff flaps again, and we're gonna try to do a loop. Kind of challenge ourselves to do just a regular loop. Okay?
Flaps up.
Flaps are up. Just a big old loop. I'm just going to pull back on the elevator. Oh, hey, I did my first aerobatic. And that's a roll. That's what you call giving yourself a victory roll. And that's just straight aileron, is all that is.
Time remains.
Just straight aileron. All right, let's try that again. You want to try these things, what I like to call 3 mistakes high. Okay, nice bank turn here. All right, we're going to take it up. We're going to challenge ourselves. We're going to go a little high. Throttle, throttle, elevator, 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 elevator. Oh, wow. Now give myself a victory roll. All right. Notice how high I am? Because as high as I am, I'm allowing myself 3 mistakes high. I've got altitude as my friend. Okay. Now, let's get up here. Oh wait, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Oh, she's stalling. Okay. She's starting to turn. Okay. I feel something happened. Something happened. Okay. I lost orientation, or something happened. She's tiptoeing. Okay. All right, look what I'm doing.
1 minute.
When I start noticing a wing is starting to drop, that right wing is dropping, so I'm going to do the opposite rudder, and look what happens. She gets level. All right. Watch this. Okay. Now I'm going to come at us, and I'm going to purposely drop 1 wing, but I'm going to give it opposite rudder, and it straightens right out. Okay. I'm going to take it up, be more aggressive about it. Okay, that wing there. All right. The left wing started to drop. I immediately gave it right rudder. That prevented the stall. So whatever, I did that suddenly on a purpose, because these things happen suddenly. All right, right wing.
20
So
seconds.
left rudder. So whatever wing starts to drop, give the opposite rudder, and that will level your wing, and that'll give you time. This wing, that rudder. All right.
10.
Take her down here. Let's go ahead and land it since we're out of time.
Landing flaps.
Landing flaps.
Timer expired.
Okay. I don't like it. I'm going to go around.
Flaps up.
I know my time's expired, but I want to go around. I'm going to do a no flap landing this time. All right. So what have we learned so far? What we've learned so far in this video, we're going to do some more. Okay.
The prop is secured.
Turn transmitter on. Plug in your battery. Get your plane ready to go. Do yourself a control service check. Make sure right aileron, left aileron, up elevator, down elevator, right rudder, light rudder, right rudder, left rudder. Everything's working the way it should. Okay. You're flying your plane for the first time. Get her up to half throttle. Get her straight and level, preferably on a calm day. And if she's pulling to the right, starting to swing over to the right, that means your left aileron. Okay? You need more left aileron to pull that wing down level. If she's starting to dive, then you need a little bit of up elevator. Whatever trim tabs you have to do to get that plane flying nice and level, almost hands off. I don't suggest, always taking your hands off, but she'll fly nice and level at half throttle, then she's trim. Okay? So once she's trim, then you'll be able to you'll have a better recipe of flying the plane once you know she's trim. Now once you know, and you already done the CG, because in fact I already told you how to do CG. All right, so now you're ready. We learned how to do an approach. We learned how to do our pattern. We learned how to get out of a stall if it wing tips one way or the other. Okay, opposite rudder. If the right wing starts to tip, you use the left rudder, and that will level your wing. Okay, we learned about letting yourself 3 mistakes high and challenge yourself. Maybe do a loop, do a victory roll, whatever. But be up high enough, because remember, altitude is your friend. But all in all, when you're learning a new plane, learn your pattern, learn your pattern. Okay, we're going to change batteries, and we're going to come back and we're going to do some landing drills, because landing drills and learning your approach, taking off a landing, are your 2 absolute most important skills, especially landing. Okay, we were 24 seconds over, but we'll change batteries, and I'll give you a battery report on both batteries after our second flight. So hold still, we'll be right back. Okay. All right, got a fresh battery here. Got my battery checker. Make sure your throttle cuts on, because you don't want to go to the hospital because you cut yourself on your plane. Go up behind the plane, get your hatch open, and let's check that battery. Check your battery lead. You're looking for it to be under 50% if at all possible. If I can get my... All right, cool. We're at 32%. With 37373737 per cell. So 32%, that's a good storage rate. Now this plane's been sitting here for a few minutes. It's had time for the ESC to cool off a little bit. I always recommend give yourself a few, don't go back to back with batteries. Okay, give it 2 or 3 minutes at least. Leave preferably 5 minutes between flights. We've had at least that. Put your battery back, new battery, your transmitter's already on. Okay, new battery. And this is another great beginning plane. It really is. All right. In this part of the video, we're going to do some landing drills, approach, takeoff and landing drills. We're also going to learn how to check a plane for stall to see where her stall point is. Okay. And we're also going to see how she flies inverted. These are all things that you want to learn. I'm going to reset my timer. Okay, we're going to get down here. Fresh battery. And let's go ahead and start off with a few drills. We're going to start off with taking off without flaps. Get on that center line. You've already checked everything. You know everything's working right. All right, ease into our throttle, no flaps. Try to stay on that center line the best you can. Give yourself some power and ease up on the elevator pressure to get up there. All right, we're going to do a rudder or a nice aileron turn there. Establish our pattern. Okay, and the #1 way to get a feel for landing, to start doing approaches and touch and goes. Now don't set her down right here. Just get down as close as you're comfortable to the runway as you can, where you're comfortable, and just get over that runway, get over that center line. Okay, get used to how that feels in your hands to hold her at that altitude. Go around again. Okay. Get used to how that plane feels on the sticks. All right, let's go a little bit lower this time. A little bit lower this time. And I highly suggest coming out here, just burn a couple of batteries. Just doing landing, just coming by, allowing yourself to get a little bit closer, a little bit lower.
Remaining 6 minutes.
Okay, now we're going to do what you call a touch and go. Okay, no flaps yet. I'm going to do this touch and go. And I'm just going to let them back wheels just tap the ground. Just a nice, gentle tap, touch and go. There, nice little tap. All right, so now we kind of, by doing that, you kind of establish at what point you're learning that muscle memory of how much throttle to let off to maintain control, to maintain forward momentum. You're developing that landing feel, and touch and goes are the best way to do that. Now, a little bit more of an extended touch and go. Actually, let her roll a little bit. Okay? We'll do that one more time. There you go. Just learn how that airplane reacts. Just bring a couple of batteries out one day. Just do touch and go. Just do that entire battery, touch and go, building that muscle memory. And that's one of the best ways to improve your skills, honestly.
Time remaining 5 minutes.
All right, now we're going to land it. Going to do our
Landing flaps.
landing flaps this time. She should land much shorter. All right, further down the runway.
Flaps up.
All right, now we're going to learn where this plane stalls. Something we should have already covered, but I didn't really cover it yet. But we want to know at what point, if I cut throttle, at what point, how's this plane going to react if she loses power? All right, we're going to do takeoff flaps. We're going to take off, get her 3 mistakes high. Okay.
Flaps up.
All right, I'm going to go back out here. Remember, I want to be up kind of high. All right, I'm going to fly along, fly along. She loses power. Okay, she's still going, still gliding. How does she play? How does she react? Well, look at that. Because she's trimmed and she's balanced, look at what she does. She just glides. She just glides on down. All right, so lose power again. I'm not touching sticks at all. She's just gliding. She's gliding. She's gliding down. All right, so that tells me that that plane, not only is it balanced right, but it's trimmed perfect. Because she's going to just glide right on down. Now, this is a trainer. This is very forgiving. Some jets, some planes, no matter what they are, jets and warbirds, it doesn't matter how trim or how balanced they are. They're one wing or the other. There's going to be a weird characteristic that plane's going to do. That's why you want to establish what that plane does. Now, here's the other thing we're going to do. Lose power, we're going to start pulling up on the elevator. Up elevator, up elevator, up elevator. So I want to see which wing. Look at that. Which wing? Okay, maybe the right wing. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, left wing, sorry. Left wing. I'm going to do it again. Okay, I'm going to pull up the elevator. Elevator, up elevator, up elevator, up elevator. Up elevator. Maybe favors the left wing. Maybe favors the left wing at the most. Okay, and what did we learn a while ago? If you start dropping a wing, what do you do with your rudder? You do the opposite direction rudder. Okay, if she starts dropping to the left, you want right rudder. And look what happened. The wing's leveled. All right. All right. Now, we learned about checking for stall. We've learned about, what else have we learned? checking for stall. We learned about flying around. I forgot the first thing we talked about. We're not all that scripted here on Fat Guy Flies RC. Let's try inverted now. Get her up high, because we know she's balanced. Get her up high. All right. Small amount of elevator pressure needed to maintain inverted. Do that up high. I don't even like flying up inverted,
Time remaining 3 minutes.
but that's okay. That's okay. It's all part of challenging yourself. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, if you really want to improve your skills, I mean you really want to just turbocharge your skills, do this right here. Just keep flying around a pattern, doing touch and goes, learning that plane. But then come out here on the day when it's windy. Preferably right down the runway, one way or the other, or whatever your landing is, one way or the other. Start flying in some heavier wind with a plane that you're confident with. If you do that, that really will hone in that muscle memory. Because what are you doing? You're looking at the plane, you're seeing it react in the wind, you're feeling the wind, and then you're trying to maintain level flight in that wind. And all that does is just hone in that muscle memory. There is no better teacher. There is no better way to turbocharge your skills as a pilot than flying in the wind. And Fat Guy Flies RC knows that because he seems to get wind all the time. Now the other way to prove your skills, see what I just did? Do them touch and goes, right? Now, try to hold that landing off right before the stall, right before that plane's going to drop out of the sky, okay, on landing. And try to hold that landing off. Try to let those wheels touch just as long, hold off as long as possible before she drops on you. And try to get where that landing is just like a butterfly with sore feet, where you can't even tell. Now that wasn't that way that time, where you can't even tell when the wheels touch. Just learn that plane. Just keep doing takeoffs and landings, takeoffs and landings. Seriously, that's the key. Taking off and landing is a skill that you need to be the most proficient with. And then stall recovery. Reacting in an emergency. Okay. She drops the ring right, the right wing, then you left rudder. Now the other thing you can do, once you're confident with a plane, start learning to fly a little bit lower. A little bit lower. Like I've got them power lines, okay? So I use them as a visual reference of where I don't want my plane to get any lower. What I'm doing right now, just keep coming in. Learning how that plane reacts. There's all kinds of stuff I know I'm leaving out, but this is how I learn. And that's what I'm sharing, how I've learned. I've taught myself, the only lesson I had was take off in the wind and land into the wind. Other than that, everything else I've learned on my own. So I'm sure there's instructors out there that have a much better regiment than me. But I'm just telling you what I did. I know that doing touch and goes and practicing my landing is the one thing I want to do. Almost doing a wheelie there. Now, something else I like to do is try to hover that plane right off the deck, not let her touch at all. Kind of an advanced touch and go, otherwise with no touch. I do it all the time. Y'all see me doing a touch and go with no touch. Otherwise, I want that wheels to be ever so close, but don't ever actually touch. That way you're learning the right amount of throttle to hold that plane in check. Just like that. All right. I think we have covered all the basics. Remember, altitude is your friend. Get her up high, have some fun with her. And just remember, whichever way, if the wings start stalling one way, you do opposite rudder the other way.
Landing flaps.
All right. All right. I'm going to go up one more time, just real quick. Real quick. No flaps. The other thing that you want to do, especially on a day like this when it's calm, practice taking off and landing in each direction. Challenge yourself to learn each direction.
Landing flaps. Flaps up.
Wheelie, 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 wheelie. Alrighty.
The prop is secured.
16 seconds over on a
Timer reset.
7-minute timer. Look where I'm coming up to the plane. Behind that prop. Okay. Check my battery. %, with 37, 37, 37, 37. So that's a good storage rate. Folks, and that's really all there is to it. Consistency. That's key. Consistency. Just keep at it. Bring you 3 or 4 batteries out and just do a touch and goes, take off and landings. Keep flying that pattern. Learn how that plane feels on the sticks through your transmitter, how it reacts. And then once you gain confidence and you can take off and land without even really thinking, and you can go out here and fly this plane around and do a few rolls and a few tricks and everything, and you can take off and land with confidence and you feel good about that plane, come out on a little windier of a day and try to do the same things. Learn how to do that approach as you've got a crosswind hitting you. Okay, learn how to put that rudder into the wind to keep that plane straight. These are all more advanced skills, but for right now, come out here on a calm day and just fly, fly, fly. Take off, take off, take off. Land, land, land. Just keep doing patterns and patterns and touch and goes and touch and goes. And throw your mic off your hat like that so everybody goes, what's with that? You know, consistency. That's key. Consistency, consistency, consistency. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching. God bless y'all. Cameron Precious, thank you for filming. I hope this shed a little bit of light on how to improve your skills as a pilot with these RC planes. I hope that helped you out and hope it inspires you. FMS makes a good line of products. If you're interested in this plane, there'll be a link in the description of the video. You can save a little bit of money if you want to buy it by using my link. It's up to you. I just want you to get a nice plane, and I really recommend this. It's easy to see, it's easy to fly, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. God bless y'all, and we'll catch you next time at the field. Bye.